master of disaster. What's up, my man?
Things are good. I got to go to the other Lou, this weekend.
Which Lou is that?
Louisville.
Oh,
Louisville. Louisville. That's how you say it.
I know that's how you say it. Those motherfuckers can't talk down there.
Yeah. But it was good. It was a good weekend.
Yeah.
Got to drive by a big statue of Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, that's cool. I forgot that's where he's from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Are you? I know Sal's a baseball guy. Are you a baseball guy?
Yeah, I like baseball.
Louisville Slugger Museum. Pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
You ever been there?
No. No, I haven't been there.
But the concept is cool,
that'd be
right?
cool, right?
Yeah,
like go look at a bunch of fucking baseball bats?
Yeah. Well, I have to admit, I didn't have a ton of respect for baseball players until I went there. And they have this little setup to where you can stand behind a fake, home plate, and you can take a pitch. And it's just insane how fast those pitches are. It's amazing that anybody hits any pitch.
I'm sure it's amazing to you.
Well, it is.
The athlete that you are.
Yeah, well, that's true. I'm more of a, basketball guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You look like a basketball guy. 5'2", fucking
Hey, Steve
white.
Kerr didn't look like a basketball guy, and when he was in college. He
but he was like 6'7".
Okay.
You're like 5'7".
Point where 5'10" and a half.
Also, you guys know who else is in the room? MC Salmon.
What up, what up?
What's going on?
Not much. It was actually warm enough to wear these salmon shorts today, but
you didn't wear them.
Man.
If you don't wear the salmon shorts, we can't have a good fucking show.
I'm just in this, the skinny jean mode right now.
I could tell. Fucking skinny jeans are appropriate for you.
You like looking
Let me
at
get you
my
some
butt,
fucking
just
rainbow
admit it.
stickers. So, guys, as you know, if this is your first time listening, welcome. This is the MFCEO podcast. We do curse. We do tell off-color jokes. We do offend people. But what we also do is tell the reality of entrepreneurship, core values, and values in society that will help you become successful no matter if you own your own company, no matter if you're an employee in a company, no matter if you're trying to, whatever your goal could be, we are going to talk about those principles. Today, we have something that is very special that we don't normally do. We have a guest. The guest that we have today is a very, very well-known social media influencer. If you're not following him, you need to be following him. Very successful, real entrepreneur, not one of these fake motherfuckers that sells info products on the internet and pretends to be some sort of fucking guru. We're talking about a guy who started a company, built the company, sold it for $50 million, and has done things in the real world, okay? Key point being real world, all right? And as you guys know, I don't bring guests on very often, but this is a great opportunity to connect with somebody, talk with somebody about what it takes to do real things in the real world. So I'm proud to have on my good buddy, Gerard Adams. What's up, my man? How you doing?
It's good, Andy. Thanks for having me on, bro.
Listen to that voice, man. He's got a voice for audio, doesn't he?
Yeah, smooth.
Yeah, he was saying he doesn't like the audio. His audio isn't his thing, but I think it might be a secret superpower.
Yeah, see, I have a face for audio.
Yeah, you sure do. Gerard and I and his crew and Emily went out last night, and we drank quite a few beers. I think you had what we have? We figured it's like 7? Or no, you guys have 14, so it was mostly 14.
Yeah.
I had 13 or 14 Stellas.
Wow.
Yeah.
But who's counting, right?
The only reason we counted was because we were talking at lunch how shitty we felt, but it was worth it.
Where'd you take him?
We went to Katie's Pizza and Pasta
that's a
over in
great
Rock
place.
Hill.
Yeah.
Great place.
Yeah, you didn't get that invite, Vaughn?
Yeah, I never get the invite.
Yeah, well, I didn't get invited to your MFCEO meetup, so
Well, that's true.
yeah.
I assumed to know.
How the fuck are you going to have an MFCEO meetup without
for
the
one
fucking
thing, you were out of
MFCEO?
Who's in
town,
LA?
and I also assumed to know on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Vaughn, I threw this on Vaughn at the last minute. I said, hey, we're going to do a podcast with my boy. He's in town. Let's talk about some things. I think this is a great opportunity to talk about real fundamental shit that it takes to be an entrepreneur. Gerard and I spoke most of the night last night about the difference between a plan and theory and actual application. Why don't you tell people a little bit about you and about what you've done and where you come from before we get into some of the conversation that we're going to get into, and let people know where they can find you too.
Yeah, thanks, Andy. I gotta admit, guys, pounding beers with Andy fucking Frisella was a highlight of so far 2017. So thank you, brother, for having me out here. Me, Alyssa, and I had a great time with you and Emily. But it was really cool to really dive in with you because I feel there is a real problem in society right now, especially with the younger generation, of who they're looking at and getting guidance from. For as far as like real role models, especially in the entrepreneurial world, what people are considering success, and I feel that I relate to you in an aspect that like I did grow up at a time where I didn't grow up into social media. I grew up with hardworking American parents that like I saw work their asses off. My mom 7 days a week at a supermarket. My father worked for Prudential, like to provide for me and my sisters. And I owe it, I owe it all to them. But like growing up, they instilled in me very early on old school values.
Right.
Stuff that you talk about all the time, right? Work ethic. I saw it firsthand because of because of them.
Right.
Leadership skills at a very, very young age. My father pounded that in me, nonstop to be a leader. No matter what, I don't give a shit what you do. You don't never be a follower. You stand up for what you believe in life, and you don't stand down to shit. And he taught me that. And he used to actually leave notes around my house. There were famous quotes of like Marcus Aurelius, John F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King, just like big leaders, and integrity, all these values that my parents instilled in me. So I'm blessed to have that kind of foundation. And I just grew up like a natural hustler, man. I used to, shovel down, if it snowed, I was getting the block to shovel all the block, all the houses, then it turned into like hustling, teas, car parts, fake IDs at one point, like doing whatever I could. Yeah. Right. When I was younger, and, I was just naturally, just like a hustler, you know what I mean? I think I just
it's
really,
in your blood.
Yeah, it definitely was in my veins, and I was definitely motivated because I wanted to take care of my parents. I wanted to kind of, I saw them what they did, and I was like, man, I want to go to a new level for our family and like help my parents after everything that they've done, But I actually, I dropped out of college my first semester, even though my family really wanted me to go that, and they told me that was the way to, to make it. And now I know it's a little more people are dropping out, and just like now, it's the cool thing to be an entrepreneur. But back then, when I dropped out of college, it was like I was looked at as a loser, fucking failure, all that shit. Right. And it was real, like it really, really was real. Like even my family was disappointed. Like everybody was like, "Oh, we knew Gerard was going to be that fuck up." Yeah. We knew that, because I was the guy who wasn't the smartest kid. I'll never forget. Never. Like all the kids that I was friends with were in like AT classes, what they used to call the higher classes, and even in sports, I was extremely competitive, but I wasn't the tall, bigger dude, man. Right. But I was a leader. My father taught me to be a leader. Right. So no matter what, I was like, I loved pressure. I loved, I was always creative and trying to create my own opportunities. I didn't wait for nothing in life. I just was like, I was a person who just did it. And so when I dropped out of college, it was that pressure of, my family saying to me, look, you're on your own. You fuck up, you got to figure it out. And I think that kind of pressure early on in my life taught me that it's up to me and what I do. Right. Nobody is going to give it to me. No one is going to hand it to me. Back then there was no, I don't even, info products. I guess there were maybe Tony Robbins back then, I guess was probably big. I didn't know who he was. Yeah. I didn't know who any of these, there was no one I really looked up to. The people I looked up to when I was younger was like, I guess maybe I was a basketball fan as well, Vaughn. Like, so it was like, Patrick Ewing, Michael Jordan, but I didn't look to books because I never read. I was like ADD kind of guy. Right. So, but I just had to figure it out, man. And I had to go through, a lot of people ask me now to come and talk about that Elite Daily Exit, but it took me 14 years of straight hustle, figuring it out, failing, getting back up, having some success, making millions, losing millions, getting back up, continuing, and that whole journey over 14 years, I learned, what it was, I feel what it was really like to truly, truly be an entrepreneur, and I grew into the social media. I grew into all that stuff, but I never gave two shits about social media. In fact, just this week with my team, I took a step back and I've been analyzing what's going on with culture right now with social media, because it's like, it's driving me insane.
Right.
There's so much lost perception in society right now.
Yeah.
And social media is this unbelievable tool that we've been gifted with, this generation to use so that we can authentically connect. Yet we are now seeing more than ever it being used for the exact same fucked up reason why the media is today.
Right.
People using it to tell fake ass stories, have a perception, get the fame, sell people on bullshit.
Yeah.
And and there's becoming a lost perception. People are throwing the word entrepreneur on everything.
Right.
People are trying to, and I can go on and on and on about this.
Right.
But I'm taking a step back. I'm saying, again, like a leader, how do I make sure that I'm stepping up as a better leader for this generation? Because we need it. We need leaders more now than ever before. Like right now, authentic leaders that are going to share real fucking stories, real value of what it really truly takes to truly create your own, opportunities in life and what that means.
Dude, do you think that, this is interesting, I was thinking about this while you were talking. Do you think that there is a lack of men and women that are successful between the ages of, let's say, 30 and 40, which would be where you and I are, that are taking the role of we're the leaders of the next generation? Do you think there's a lack of that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Why do you think that is?
It is huge. It is huge.
I feel like when I feel like when we were younger, like teenage guys, there was a lot of men and women between the ages of 30 and 40 that I looked up to in business,
right.
That were willing to write a book or put out, some sort of information or this or that, like Tony Robbins wasn't the only guy. I was you're not a reader. I was a very voracious reader and consumer of content. So I know that there was a lot of people that were willing to step up. It seems like now, I feel like even though it's the obligation of people between that age to stand up and lead the next generation, the guys that are freaking 18 to 30, right?
Yeah.
And set an example. I feel like that example is not being set on the scale it should be. What do you think?
I think you're 100% right. And, what's the reason why is because we've never had in the history, of, I guess you can say the United States, because I can't, the world it consumes media differently. But right now, there's a disruption with, the way that people connect through social media. It's, and it's because of disruption opens up opportunity. Now that opportunity and leveraging social media like technology can be used in two ways, for the good or the bad. And a lot of people are leveraging it to take advantage of it,
right?
To for today, for today,
right.
For the for those wrong reasons, right. Rather than being really coming out, the people that are that should be the role models coming out and leveraging it, so that there's the right people to look up to.
Right.
If that makes
no, totally. I think what we're seeing is a lot of people. I think when you get any new tool, right? This is going to be a weird analogy, but you guys will know what I'm saying. If you listen to the show before, I just kind of say weird shit sometimes. All right,
all the time.
when you have something new, it's always like the criminals that figure out how to fucking utilize it first.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They take the new tool and then run with it, and they figure out all the things about it, and then it comes back to legitimate use.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm not saying that there's fucking criminals out there.
Right.
I'm saying that there is inauthentic people. There are people who are pretending to be something they aren't. There are people that are making a living selling things that they aren't qualified to sell or talk about. And those people are not the real people. And I feel like those people figured out, because they're hustlers, right?
Right, they're hustlers.
How am I gonna make
people to see that opportunity to take advantage?
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like, the legitimate people, the people who are real entrepreneurs, guys that are really building things, they're busy building their things,
right?
So the social media is so new that the real entrepreneurs are kind of behind the quote unquote criminals, cartoon characters that we see on the fucking internet.
Right.
That
so they're not having the millions of followers just
exactly
yet.
right, and they're and they're not in the game, so to speak, as much as some of these other dudes have learned how to manipulate the system and manipulate the tool, and it is kind of scary.
And at the same time, we have this huge younger generation right now that's
right, dude,
coming right up, looking for it.
They're seeing these motherfuckers, and they're trying to be just like these dudes, and it's like, dude, I can't tell you how many 19-year-old fucking life coaches I see on the internet.
Yeah.
Like, dude, bro, calm down. Let's build some shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's entrepreneurship is the meaning of entrepreneurship is getting so lost that it's almost like, like you said, when you dropped out of college and you say, "Oh, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm gonna do something," people used to look down on that. Now I feel like it got accepted. Now I almost feel embarrassed to say that again.
Yeah, but back then I got to say I didn't even call myself an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
See, people are doing things because they want to be called entrepreneurs, or they want to say they're entrepreneurs because they're looking for some kind of maybe to prove themselves right now.
Entrepreneurship doesn't mean no job. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because you don't have a job, you don't get to call yourself an entrepreneur and be something. Like, what are you creating? What are you building? Right. What are you contributing? What kind of value? What kind of solution? Who are you impacting? Those are the things that make up entrepreneurship.
Right. And it's bigger than yourself.
Yeah, it is, man. And like we talked about earlier today, we were talking about, there's always the plan, and then there is the application of the plan. And those two things are completely different. And the problems that you have to bridge and overcome are really where entrepreneurship skills, come into play.
Yeah.
And like, dude, all these dudes out there are selling these plans and these books and these courses and all this shit. And these kids think they're going to buy this fucking shit, go out, follow the 75 steps to this, and they're going to all of a sudden have this business, and they're not taught any of the skills that are necessary to actually execute the plan. So then they end up getting their asses fucking beat, and then they think, well, fuck, I'm stupid, or I don't have it, or I don't, and they never try anything again. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it's a very weird, potentially damaging situation that is going on, and I feel like entrepreneurship as a career deserves better representation than what it's getting.
100%.
Gerard, before we go on, since we are talking about the issue of being a real entrepreneur as opposed to a would-be or a fake entrepreneur, I think it'd be helpful if people knew some of the things that you've done. I was really impressed reading about like Elite Daily and Founders. So why don't you give us like a quick rundown of what you got going right now?
So after I did drop out of college, the first thing I wanted to do was create a solution to the very first problem that I had. And I still use that exact same method today as an entrepreneur, right? That's simple. And the problem that I was facing when I was 19 years old is I wanted to learn what made companies great. I wanted to learn how to invest into good companies. At the time, I really was interested in the stock market. I wanted to understand it. So I would go online, I would look at these forums, and to learn from other people, but there was no sense of credibility on any of them. So I was like, well, I'm going to create my own community online, and I'm going to steal the same idea that Amazon or eBay has of, color coordinated like rating systems. So I would have 1 to 5 stars, and each member had a color coordinated between 1 to 5 star rating. So you can click on a member's name and know, okay, this guy's got 4.5 gold stars. That means he's ranked over 100 times. He's talking about why he likes Apple for these fundamental reasons. Now, this guy's somebody I should listen to. Right. And for me, I was just trying to create a platform so that I can find, I guess you would say, like online gurus or mentors to learn from. And I basically would stay up till fucking 3, 4 in the morning, literally scouring the web, going to every message board for different companies and saying, hey, come to StockSpot and talk about this on my platform. And little by little, I got it up to about 10,000 members, which back then was a lot.
Yeah.
And I had people communicating like crazy. And I started learning. Asking questions, learning how to read an income statement, learning how to balance sheet. I became a fundamentalist of public companies and started studying the market. And eventually a CEO calls me one day. He's like, I want to advertise on your site. And I was like, oh shit, I can make money doing this. And because at the end of the day, I wasn't doing it for that. I was doing it to kind of learn.
Right. Bring value
to this community together. And I was like, all right, this is great. And then he was like, how old are you? I'm like, oh, well, I'm 19. He's like, I have a company called M-Phase Technologies out of New Jersey. I want to meet you. Come here. I don't think that you understand the value of what you've created. So I met with this CEO, and he was like, I'm going to teach. I was kind of pioneering digital media at that time to tell stories. And for, the CEO was like, you can leverage this platform to be able to tell stories for companies that need exposure. And back then, what was called investor relations or public relations was done in a very traditional means. It was done with road shows, press releases, things like that. So he was like, I'm going to mentor you to teach you this business, and you help me from a digital media perspective. So he brought me on board. That year, I had helped the company I got them written up in all types of online publications, did video marketing for him, new website, started learning the social media aspect of it back then, and built him to have 18,000 shareholders, which is the largest shareholder base out of any small cap company at the time. Freaking things going crazy. And what the company had was they had a partnership with Lucent Bell Labs, which was then a renowned lab, and they created a nano battery. And, I loved it because I still to this day don't understand why we're charging our cell phones 2-3 times a day to keep up with battery technology. So after a year goes by, everything's going great. I tell the CEO, let's do our first ever live demonstration of the nano battery. He's like, you handle everything. So I got the room set. I got a huge venue in New York City at a steakhouse. I had like a really nice, open area. I invited investors, the media, got it packed to about 200 people. And, that day I'm in the bathroom, my cue cards, never did public speaking. No one's ever met me. I look like a baby. I look young as it is, no facial hair at that time. And the CEO was like, just be yourself. So I went out there, introduced myself. Hi, I'm Gerard Adams. This is why I believe in this company. I've been behind all of the website, which you've read, the releases, all these things. And then I introduced the CEO. The CEO comes up and he's showing how the nano battery is not using any energy. And the product was an infinite shelf life battery. And it's until you turn the device on, that's when it would release energy. So they went to prove that concept in front of everybody's waiting. It's not showing no energy is being used. He hits that button to prove out this concept, and crickets. Doesn't work. Wow. So in front of everybody in the room, everyone's like, what the fuck? Everything. And I'm sitting there like, oh my God, all this hard work. And you're going to tell me you're not prepared to make sure that this thing is going to work? So I thought my career was over. This was my first experience with failure. And I never forget, a couple guys came up to me in that room, was like, hey kid, I'm surprised you got me in the room. Here's my card, call me. So when I left, I was like, you know what? I can learn something from this. Fuck it. There's got to be other companies out there that would love to use my expertise. Right. So I decided to build my first company, which was a digital media marketing agency for telling stories for small cap companies. And I'll never forget, I would print out at home in my parents' basement, I would print out every public company that I found that I thought, met these characteristics, these fundamentals, had a good story. And I would literally fax the CEO, call the CEO, mail him a letter, email him, everything to give me a shot. Give me a shot to help me tell your story. And I finally got one company to give me a shot, $750 for a monthly retainer. And I just fucking worked my ass off to overperform for this company. Because I knew if I did a good job for him, this one client, then it would spread. Mm-hmm. And
so you didn't just create a logo and then, sell it for $50 million?
No. This is even pre-Elite Daily. And that one client overperformed. He introduces me to another guy. That one client turned into 3 clients. I go from $750 to $1,500, $1,500 to $3,000, all the way up until I was getting 6 figures.
So wait. My mind is blown here. Mm-hmm. You mean to tell me that you put in the extra work before you were actually getting paid for it?
Exactly.
No way.
That's amazing.
You don't say.
Yeah. Still, and that's people don't get it. I mean, that's what you got to do. You know what I mean? Still to today, it's like it's not brain science. You can go read all the books in the world. You can go and get all these info products, man. It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Do more than you get fucking paid for.
Yeah.
Period.
I'm curious about your website. Did you build that yourself?
So what happened is I built out that agency to about $10 million in revenue. I was about 24 years old. This is how it led to Elite Daily. I started investing into the market. I started traveling and making documentaries on companies that were building that I believed in, and primarily into like gold miners and stuff like that, because I saw we had this national debt problem, inflation. So I was like, I kind of took the Warren Buffett model. I would invest in these companies, tell a bit of documentary on them.
In gold mining.
In gold mining.
I used to invest in a gold mining company.
Yes, I did really well. I had like some 7-figure trades, and then finally I was up $20 million in the market on a company, mid-20s.
At 24.
And man, at that time I was living life, man. I was like traveling the whole country, getting villas everywhere, like top MGM Grand, like, the G Suite. I had, the Bentley, the penthouse. I thought I had it all figured out. I thought I was invincible, man. And this is when I finally found out about, I got my ego.
Yeah.
And the market crashed. If you remember the recession, I lived through that. My father got fired. My mom ended up getting out of work, and around that time, and I had lost everything in the market. I was up 20 million, boom. And I'll never forget my ego getting hit, and I was like, "What the fuck am I gonna do now?" And I had to sell my car, all this stuff. And then my mother told me a story that changed my life. At that time, she basically told me how when my grandparents immigrated, that they lived in a studio apartment. That apartment caught on fire. They lost everything. And at like 14 years old, my mom had to go get a job on Canal Street in the middle of the winter in New York just to make a little bit of money to help my grandparents put food on the table. She was like, if I was able to do that, and now you got this roof over your head, you better get out there and do it again. So I was like, shit, that was the only motivation I really needed. So at that point, I was like, well, I have a passion for content. I'm good at this. Everyone in my generation's paying attention to Kim Kardashian and Jersey Shore, all these reality TV shows, but no one's paying attention to the economy. So I started doing documentaries on the economy, and I did one on the student loan debt crisis at the time, because all my friends now are graduating from college.
And they can't fucking pay their bills.
They can't pay their bills. They got student loan debt. They can't get a job. So I exposed that, got some coverage on TV, and at that time, my intern, was like, hey, I'm interested in creating a millennial publication around business. So he's like, let's create this website, Elite Wall Street. And I was like, fuck that. Wall Street's tainted. Let's do something bigger. If we start looking at the market, we're like, all these publications have been handed down to us. Let's create a publication that's for the voice of Generation Y, for millennials, by millennials, in every vertical, from business to health to dating to lifestyle to luxury to you name it. And then that's when we bought Elite Daily for $9.99 in GoDaddy in my apartment. 3 of us. They were 19. I was mentoring them. I was in my mid-20s. I told David, you're going to be the CEO. I'm going to be the president. Start mentoring David. And we weren't journalists. People fucking said, who are these guys? You don't have a degree in journalism, but all this shit. BuzzFeeds of the world. We're raising hundreds of millions of dollars. We were bootstrapped, but we didn't care, man. We were doing it it was bigger than anything else. We were doing it because we wanted to show that that millennials should have a voice. That all these publications that were being handed down to us telling all this shit, but nobody was being authentic.
Right.
So we decided that would be us, and we figured out a way to go across the nation to all these universities and get these ambassadors, which then led to writers that got us 2,000 contributing writers around the country, and that's how we were able to keep up and scale to 80 to 100 articles per day. And then eventually, obviously, went from 3 of us in an apartment to 200 employees. Culture that was ride or die. They would sleep, shit in this blood, sweat, and tears into this brand. Everybody understood the purpose of Elite Daily. It was bigger than like the publication, right? It was like making a name, like showing that this was the voice of Generation Y. If you wanted to tell your story and you're a millennial, you do it through Elite Daily. And we were able to build that to 80 million unique visitors. And then 2015, we got John Steinberg to join our board because we saw he left BuzzFeed, and he made an acquisition offer when he joined the Daily Mail, and we sold the company in 2015. And then right after that moment, people are asking me to go speak about this Elite Daily. They didn't see all those years prior to get to that. And then I started seeing again what's going on with the millennial generation, and I started looking into thought. Now I'm never at this point in time, right? 2015. This point in time, I don't even have a fucking Facebook. I've never had MySpace. I didn't give a shit about me.
Right.
I only cared about my team, my brands, my businesses.
Right.
And then what happened was when I finally sold, I was like, fuck, man, now what? I sold my baby. I didn't want to sell. I was the blocking vote. But we were looking at the industry and how Facebook there was some uncertainty, how they were changing algorithms. And so we did the deal. And then afterwards, I took a look back. Now I'm looking at social media, like looking at like who are the leaders that are millennials out there sharing stories as real entrepreneurs, and all I see are these guys that are putting, you know, showing all the fancy fucking cars and fucking selling people on fucking books.
Yeah.
And not actually real fucking entrepreneurs building shit. So I'm like,
not even their shit.
So I'm like, fuck, I have to step up. I can't let this happen.
Right.
And then I got invited to a Tony Robbins event. I went, and then when I saw this guy, the number one thing I took from him, I was so taken back. But the number one thing I took was, success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. That was this quote that just like got ingrained in me. And I'll never forget. So I flew to Silicon Valley. I got ranked in tech and stuff like that. I'm speaking in Silicon Valley, and I'm seeing these ecosystems that they have there to support entrepreneurs that are starting off that I never had growing up.
Right.
But I'm seeing how powerful it was. And I was like, damn, why aren't we building those kind of ecosystems nationwide, especially in inner cities? So that's when I started formulating this idea of founders to build a brand that when people do want to become real entrepreneurs, there's a place that they can go to that's not just online shit, a place they can go to get a part of a culture and really truly be in an environment that's gonna fucking be like, picture like an entrepreneur like military boot camp.
Right.
You know, and I spent many months, a little over 6 months, building a curriculum of if I were to go back and teach myself at 19, 20 years old, what I had learned through all those years, over 14 years, what would that look like? So I ended up building that in a place. You know, I built a building, developed a building with 25 units, apartments, where there would be a live, work, play kind of aspect to it. This district in Newark, where my grandparents were from, and I've been building this thing out, man. Like just building out this accelerator, you know, building out a whole district in Newark, and then looking to master that process, and then go and partner with leaders across the nation in their respective communities and bring founders, you know, nationwide.
Yeah, replicate it out.
Yeah.
If you guys want to follow founders on Instagram, it's at FOWNDERS. Just thought I'd throw that out there for you.
Yeah, I got the word own in the middle of it, because what we do is we teach people to own it. You know, own who the fuck you are, own what you've gone through in your life, own it. Whatever it is, own it.
So, like, dude, that's actually a good segue into, you know, when we were talking earlier about, you know, what it takes to be successful and be a real entrepreneur, and you just said own it. And we talked about how many people want to be an entrepreneur, and they instead of like becoming an entrepreneur, they become what they think an entrepreneur should be.
Yeah.
And ruin the authenticity of themselves, which is actually their greatest competitive advantage if they ever ask themselves the hard questions. What would you say to entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs who are struggling to figure out what their voice is and how they want to be heard and how they want to brand themselves in regards to owning it?
Stop following. Look, I get it. There's all these people out there that you can keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, analyzing what everybody else is doing. And there's got to come to a point where you look yourself in the mirror, you stop fucking scrolling, dig down deep inside of yourself. I always say, like, most entrepreneurs, the problem is that they focus on the external. You know, they're looking at everything else.
Right.
They got to start looking internal. You know, I challenge you. Stop following everybody else. Stop thinking that anybody's going to give you the answers. They're not. Everybody has their own strategy. Everyone's figured out in different ways. We all have a story. I look at entrepreneurship as like I have a passion for also art. Like, I feel like, dude, it's your life. You know what I'm saying? You got to fucking paint your own picture. You're going to have to learn. You have to figure this shit out. There's no perfect right path. So it's like, I would tell you, if you're a young entrepreneur out there, you know, stop looking at everything else around you as what you think success is and trying to replicate, and start being authentic to who you are, what you've been through, what you want in your life, and then just start fucking taking action. It's that simple. Start putting it into play. Stop worrying about what everyone else thinks. Stop looking for everyone else's opinions and everything. Just start doing what you want to fucking do, and literally, I would tell you also focus. Like, we as a generation have a problem with focusing. Everyone wants to, all over the place, and there's procrastination because of it. Starve your distractions, feed your focus, do one core fucking thing right, and do that consistently over and over and over and over again, and don't fucking stop, and don't fucking look back.
Dude, I think what you said is super, super important regarding the focus aspect. We talked about this a couple weeks ago, Vaughn, on the Millennial podcast that we did, and I'll just bring you up to speed on what I was saying. We actually talked about this at lunch a little bit. Simon Sinek did a interview regarding millennials, and we kind of dissected that and did a podcast around his remarks on that. One of the things that he says that I don't agree with is that they have short attention spans, and they have this and they have that, and he was saying it in a way that it makes millennials sound like as if there's something wrong with them. But you have to think about it like this. You and I have been brought up, and Vaughn, you too, and Tyler, you too, everybody in this room has been brought up in the pre-social and post-social era. We kind of grew through both of them. Mm-hmm. And we know that not everything is instant. I remember having a fucking beeper. I remember not having a fucking cell phone. I remember when cell phones came in a fucking bag, okay? And then they had car phones, which were attached to your car.
My dad had that.
Yeah, dude. And like, we remember all this shit, right? Yeah. Like, that's the innovation of communication. Like, you and I and all of us can remember those things.
The sound of logging onto the internet.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Netflix.
Like, dude, but these kids don't remember that, dude. Like, they've been grown up with high speed. They've grown up with every single thing they need on the touch of a screen of a fucking 6-inch device. That's unbelievable if you really think about it. It's so, like,
powerful.
When you think about patience and what is required for you to build patience, they have had that really kind of limited from their scope of development just by the way that the world is. So is that their fault because they have a hard time focusing, or they have a hard time missing patience? I don't think so, because how the fuck can you blame somebody or expect somebody to have something when their entire environment doesn't provide that?
Yeah.
So when you say, like, just what you just said about focus, it's so important. And this goes for older people too, but it's so important to realize that, like, dude, it's not about trying to do 10 things or 12 things or 3 things or 2 things. It's about doing one fucking thing. And it's about doing that thing better than fucking anybody, and doing that one thing long enough to where the rest of the people who are trying to do that one thing get their fucking asses beat by you and quit. And then guess what? You're fucking winning. But people don't do that. They think that entrepreneurship is about 3 ideas, 6 ideas, 10 ideas. Oh, dude, I got all these ideas. Bro, that doesn't impress me. Does that impress you?
Hell fucking no.
What impresses you?
Yeah, man. Someone who's able to say, I'm going all in, like all fucking in, 110%.
No matter what the fuck it takes.
Yeah, just on this vision.
This is going to work. And like, dude, like when I talk to people who are successful, and I talk to my friends who are successful, and like him and I sat down and drank a bunch of fucking beers last night, but no matter how many beers we drank, did we ever think, oh, we're going to do all these ideas? No, we continued to talk about his founder's project and my fucking project. Okay? We talked about First Form. We talked about our podcast, obviously, and our content, but everything revolved, we didn't go off of these fucking wild paths. Like we're like, dude, you need to realize, and Gerard's been through the fucking shit, so he knows this. But dude, that one idea that you're trying to like consider as an option is going to take all of your fucking effort, all of your heart, all of your energy forever to make it succeed. So why the fuck are you trying to do 3 of them?
Yeah.
Because if you do 3 of them, you're cutting your energy into thirds, which means you don't have enough to make any of them work.
And you're going to get fucking beat.
Dude, there's no question, because the ones you're competing against, you have 3 things, and then each of those 3 things have competitors. Those motherfuckers are going all in like it's their only way to survive. And you can't beat somebody with 30% energy who's putting 100% into it. It's just the way it is. There's all kinds of other factors too. Dude, zero option mentality. Like, dude, when you don't have any other options, guess what? You'll figure out creative ways to make shit work. You know, it's
That's what being an entrepreneur is, being resourceful, pivoting.
Solving problems as they come.
Yep.
Being the fucking captain of a ship that is in the middle of a fucking storm, dude. You know, like Captain Ahab with the fucking, or whatever, the Gordon the fisherman, fucking fish stick Gordon. Like, we're on the motherfucking boat, bitch.
I think that's what makes it fun. That's what makes fucking entrepreneurship
Dude,
so great.
That's
we talked
all
about
it
this.
is.
Remember,
Yes,
just
man.
fucking
Yeah.
thriving
not
when
the
it's
check.
all fucking
It's not
done.
the money. It's the little bitty victory. It's seeing that fucking iceberg coming at the ship and missing it by a fucking hair and be like, fuck you, Mr. Iceberg. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, you can't understand that unless you've been through it. And like, I think what you're saying is so cool because, and I agree with it 1,000%, which is no surprise because we've talked about this before, but it's such an internal to external process. It's not an external to internal process. Like a lot of people say, fake it till you make it. So they go out and they put a fucking suit on and they try to get the nicest car they can drive and they post a picture of fucking 10 grand on the fucking internet. It's all the money they have. And it's like, dude, that's not what this is about, dude. It's not about what you wear, what you drive, or how much cash you fucking show. It's about who you are on the inside, letting that develop and become something that resonates and using that to connect people in a way that somehow is going to create revenue streams for you and other people around you.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about it too. It's like money doesn't lead, it follows, man. And you focus on...
Dude, say that again.
Money never leads, it follows.
And explain that because that needs to be...
Yeah, man, it's impact over money. You know what I'm saying? It's, for me, it's like, it's legacy. It's like,
So, like, dude, when people hear that, though, like when people hear, like, a kid who's 22 years old who wants to fucking be rolling around, balling.
Yeah.
You know, he wants to be like you were when you were fucking 24.
Yeah.
Killing it. Like, when they hear that term legacy or they hear that term impact, like, dude, dig into that because these kids need to know what that means. I know exactly what you mean. But these kids, they that shit goes like this, dude. In one ear, out the other ear, and then they want to say, well, when are we going to talk about the money?
Yeah.
So let's dig into that, man.
You know, for me, it's like how I look at it is like, for instance, with founders, right? You know, for me, it's like a legacy play, but let's go into it as from a business perspective for a second. What I do is right now, what I'm focusing on is 2027. You know, people are talking about New Year's resolutions, 2017. I'm thinking about 2027. I'm talking about 10 years. So when you get that focus, where's that idea? What is that vision? You need to be a visionary. Where do you want your business to be in 10 years? And then you need to reverse engineer that back all the way down to the exact values you stand for and implementing and executing on a daily basis for the next 10 fucking years. And every business that I've ever built, I don't even take a salary. I eat shit. It's completely everybody else around me in the business first. The people that I'm serving. Okay, so for founders, it's the entrepreneurs, right? The communities that I'm in, right? The city that I'm in, which is Newark right now, and all it is how to make sure that I could bring very best value to those entrepreneurs, to that community that I'm in with founders every single day and continue. And look, it's a process. So I'm consistent. The curriculum that I built for my first cohort of entrepreneurs to the curriculum I'm now going to launch in February 20th for the next 12 weeks is different. It is improved. I have new mentors coming in. And this cohort, Andy fucking Frisella is going to be coming and speaking. Like, there's new people like I want that will come in and speak. Each time it gets better and better and better and better and better. And you continue to add and you continue to fucking execute. Bring better people. Sacrifice for your team. Make sure everybody understands the values that you're all standing for because it's bigger than any one of us. And it doesn't matter if you're the person that's, you know, doing whatever. You could be the janitor to the fucking motherfucking CEO. Everyone lives and breathes those values. How are we going to bring that value to impact whoever it is we're serving? And you do that consistently, and you will probably start to see the real tangible results in 3 years. That's from my experience. About 5 years, you start to really see how you can scale to a much bigger company. And then you know what? And for founders, our goal is we want to impact 1 billion lives. You know, I'm aiming 10 years. Well, who knows? Maybe it's 12. Maybe it's 17, like you, Andy. Right. Maybe it's fucking 30. I don't give a fuck until that happens. But, you know, you need to have that vision, you know, 10 years out. What does this company look like? Where is it? And then it's just, you know, impacting, reverse engineering that through impact on every single day. Every choice you make in your business is around those values, is around making that impact. And that's it. You do not waver around that, regardless of whatever the fuck money or whatever. You know, it doesn't matter.
So I think an interesting thing here, which people need to pay attention to, is that, look, at no point in time did he say we're trying to make X amount of money. At no point in time did he say we're going to make 1 billion. He said we're going to impact 1 billion lives. All right. And when we talk about impact, we talk about legacy, and we talk about all these things that you people who are listening put like arbitrary value into when you think and hear, and you kind of ignore those terms. You have to realize that things like impact, things like solution, which are the words that he used, okay? Those, when he says the money follows, he means that the money follows the impact, the money follows the solution, the money follows the help, the money follows the quality of whatever product you have. The money always follows. It's not in front, it's it back. And so when we're talking about being impactful or building a legacy, realize that we're doing so with the understanding that if we do those things, we are 1,000,000% certain that the money will take care of itself.
100%.
So you kids listening and you adults listening, you know, who are confused as to why you have a hard time finding yourself in an abundance of money, I'm going to tell you why.
Because that's not success.
Well, not only that, you're thinking about the fucking money. Like, dude, you're at fucking work. I don't care what job you're at. You're at work thinking about, you know, if you're a salesman, you're thinking about how much you sold. If you're working in a warehouse, you're thinking about how much you make an hour. If you own a business, you're thinking about your numbers for the week. Look, think about these things instead.
Yeah.
Think about, how much solution did I provide for my people? How much extra how far over the top did I go for them? How much of an impact did I make for them? How much easier did I make my boss's job? How much easier did I make my manager's job?
How you're transforming the lives of everybody that touches your brand.
Yeah, and your brand, which is you.
Yeah.
You know, and you guys have to stop thinking about the fucking scoreboard and start thinking about the quality of the product that you're putting out. And that product could very easily be yourself. You know, we get so many people, and like, dude, I'm guilty of it too, right? I show my fucking Lambos, I show my fucking Rolls, I show when I fly around private.
Yeah.
You know, I floss a little bit on the internet because, you know what? I fucking earned it and I like it. And, you know, if you don't like it, I don't give a fuck. But here's the thing. 17 fucking years. Not 2 years. Not fucking 12 months. I was living in my mom's basement and all of a sudden I'm a millionaire. 17 fucking years. Okay? So when you see the shit that I post, that's not some rented shit. That's not some fake shit. That's my daily shit.
Yo, also, we talked about it. Maybe, Andy, you should talk about it a little bit, right? But it's more about, it's not about even those things. Like, those are things you love, but people look at it because it's a material thing. But we talked about this yesterday. It's the feeling of accomplishment that you're treating yourself, you know, that has more meaning than the actual car itself, watch itself. Because I went through that when I bought my first Ferrari.
Right.
You know, when I bought my first Ferrari and I went in there,
yeah.
You know, they thought I was a drug dealer.
Yeah.
And they were like, fuck this kid.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I should have fucking said, fuck you, and walked out. But I was like, I'm here to buy a fucking Ferrari.
Yeah.
And you're either selling to me right now or I'm never coming back. And they were like, well, you know, remember, I had to, one of my good friends' fathers said, if you buy a Ferrari, finance it. Because what happens is Ferrari's always updating new cars and it's like a club.
Right.
And he's like, you got to join the Ferrari club. It's like getting accepted into that club. And then you continue to always update your Ferraris. Or if you're blessed, you can collect them, right? So I was like, all right, I'm going to do that. So I got my first, I went there and he was like, well, the finance department's closed. So I was like, well, I'm here to buy a fucking Ferrari. So he's like, the only way that you're buying a Ferrari, kid, is if you fucking pay for the car all up front. And he thought like that was not happening.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm buying this fucking Ferrari. I came here to buy a fucking Ferrari. So I'm like, he's like, well, I have dinner with my wife. I said, well, I'm telling you right now, you're coming with me to the bank. Otherwise, I'm never coming back here. So I took him. Now, in that time, it was on a weekend. My bank was closed on the weekend in Jersey. So I drove him, the salesperson, all the way to Manhattan to the bank, took out a fucking certified check for, I think it was $325,000. And it was the best fucking feeling in the world. And he looked at me and said, no, in all the years I've been selling fucking cars, no one has ever fucking taken me all the way to fucking a bank in Manhattan to do some shit like this. You're fucking nuts. Went back to that dealership. It was the best feeling in the world. And I left there fucking with so much, I felt like so much pride. Like I earned this thing. It was more about the fucking car.
Yeah.
I fucking worked my balls off.
Yeah.
You know, for fucking I think it was probably like 10 years. It was like 2010 when it was when the 458 Italia just came out.
Yeah.
It was right before I had the fucking that stock thing happened. But the best feeling was driving down that fucking highway, gunning it down that highway, that fucking feeling of thrill and fucking accomplishment. And I earned this. It was a dream that came true.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't give a fuck what people thought of me or the pictures and the likes. No, it was more about for me.
Yeah.
You know, that feeling.
Yeah.
And then I drove right to my fucking parents' house. You know what it felt like to pull in the fucking driveway?
Actually, I do.
Yeah. But that's what people don't realize.
Yeah.
It's not
It's
like you're
fucking
showing
amazing.
off, man.
Right.
Those are fucking things you put in the fucking sweat and you earned it.
Right.
And I don't care. It could be anything. It could be anything to whatever meaningful to you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, so.
And dude, when I was young, and I still am motivated by material shit. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, a lot of people like to shit on that idea that like there's something wrong with wanting material things. There's nothing wrong with that. Where it becomes a problem is when you start putting those things in front of everything else.
Yeah. You use that as like your way of showcasing what success is. That's not, that's a, you know, like we talked about.
Right. You know, I find that, you know, the older I get, the more I start realizing that, you know, I really don't give a fuck about that shit. Like, I like it, but like, it's not like it was when I first started getting into it, you know? It's like you get used to everything a little bit. You know what I mean?
Except for that new Ford GT that's coming, bro.
Be sick. Yeah,
that one's gonna feel good.
Don't tell the color on the show.
I won't.
It's top secret.
Oh,
You're the only person I've told the color to.
Wait till you guys fucking see this car. I've never seen anything like it in my entire life, and I'm a car guy.
Would you lie to me when I fucking asked?
I didn't. No one knows the color. He's the only one.
Oh, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
I got that one. I got that one. Yeah.
I got to ask questions.
Sure.
So you've been talking a lot about.
It's been bothering you over there, hasn't it?
No.
You're like he's fucking twitching.
Well, I think this is a huge question, and you've been talking a lot about providing value. Andy, you talked about leaving legacy. You know, I've heard a lot of people say that money doesn't change you; it just brings out the kind of person you are. What's clear to me is that prior to getting money, both of you guys were quality human beings, and the money over time you realize that. The money ultimately wasn't going to make you happy. It's all the things you could do with it. And yes, you agree that you said that material stuff isn't bad. But you also referenced the kids that want to just be ballers. What happens if a person like that, they're just not a good person? I mean, how do they become, in your mind, how do they become a good person to therefore be motivated by the things that you guys are saying? Because I feel like you guys can talk all you want, as long as you want, about, no, you got to be motivated by legacy and you got to be motivated by value and provide, solving people's problems. But reality is there are people out there that are just D-bags.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
you know what I'm saying? Like, how?
Yeah, but
what if somebody here's listening and going,
okay, so like you're familiar with like the concept of natural selection?
Of course.
Okay, right?
Yeah.
All right. So, and I definitely, Gerard, you give your take. This is my take.
Yep.
Okay.
It's like natural selection. Okay. When you're a fucking douchebag and you're in it for your selfish reasons, you're in it for yourself, you're all about the bling bling, and that's fucking it. You don't give a fuck about anybody. It's very hard to build success, because to build success, you can't do it on your own. You have to have people who are genuinely interested, genuinely committed, genuinely engaged in what it is you're doing. And if you're a fucking dickhead all the time, and people are going to be, even not all the time, even if you're good at hiding it, people are going to eventually see you for what you are. And they're not going to want to work with you. They're not going to want to help you. I have like a little analogy I use for it, that like climbing the ladder of success, right? You can only get so high before the people that are genuinely belong on the ladder of success will kick you down the fucking rungs for being the wrong kind of person. And dude, I've met a lot of fucking successful people, and I know you have too. A lot. And almost all of them understand the concepts that we're talking about of providing a solution, providing quality, providing value, so to speak, and doing that not only with their customers, but with their employees.
Just the way they live their lives.
Dude, all the self-made guys. I don't know anybody that is self-made that is a selfish SOB, because, dude, the problem is, well, not the problem. The truth is that back in the day, because there wasn't social media and there wasn't transparency and there wasn't all these easy ways to access people could create this alternate. They could be dicks and still be successful because nobody saw them, right? But nowadays, like you posted about this a week or two ago, do you think it's possible to be successful without social media?
Yeah.
I think you can, but it's going to be limited,
Yeah.
right? It's not going to be on a global scale or even a national scale anymore, because people want to buy from fucking people. And if you're a dong bag and you can't fucking, you don't represent the right shit, you don't have a good heart, you don't treat people right, you're all in it on your own, it doesn't take 20 years for people to find out. It takes fucking 20 days.
Okay, so my follow-up question for that, though, is of all the people that you know that are successful, that are these quality people, did any of them start out as horrible people and have that moment where their conscience was pricked and they're like, oh,
I just think it's like a learning curve. Like, I think it's what's called new money. I think if you're like that, you're new money. Like, I was like that. When I made my first money, when I was new money, I was I thought I was like this, I was a little schmuck, you know what I'm saying? I thought I was too cool for fucking anything. I had all this money. I wanted to buy things for the wrong reasons, for showing off. That happens. I think when you see people like that, to me, I just look at them and I just kind of nod my head like, man, you're just new money, bro.
It's coming, bro.
It's coming.
You know what I think? And when I say I mean fucking karma. Because it's going to smash your fucking face in.
Yeah.
We talked about that last night, too.
Yeah, for sure. And I would challenge them, like, why don't you, for once, instead of going and doing something for yourself, I challenge a person that's listening to this, if you're like that kind of person, the next time you want to do something for somebody else that's in need. Like, for me, it's like, see how it feels for a second, not to put yourself first, and take somebody else that actually maybe needs that mentorship. It doesn't even have to do with money, and actually put some effort into trying to transform somebody's life genuinely. And then when you do accomplish that, let me know how you feel then, and then compare the two. That's what I would say, because I think that's when you realize, holy shit, again, success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. And I think when you start to actually truly impact lives and not worry about just the money, like, there's a sense inside of
but so many people,
of wealth,
Gerard,
of real wealth.
That so many people think that it's one or the other. It's money or it's making an impact.
Right.
When in reality, it's impact first, then money.
Yeah.
And people don't get that. Like, it's not. And I think that comes from like people thinking money is morally wrong.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You think so?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We talked about this before.
Like it's not this or that. You can have both.
Yeah.
And nothing is cooler than having both, because when
money
you have
is
the
important.
means, you can fucking do some pretty badass shit for other people.
Fuck yeah.
Absolutely. No, good thoughts. Good thoughts. So I had
America.
this conversation.
Fuck yeah.
So
Fuck yeah.
I had this
He
conversation.
loves the 4GT video.
Oh, cool.
Best fucking video
We watched it at
of
lunch.
2016 is Andy Frisella's 4GT video to Ford.
The application video.
Ford, if you're
Appreciate
listening
that,
this,
'cause
you
we
need
did
to
that in, like, an
sponsor.
hour.
I
Andy.
told her that. I
We
said
did that in like an hour.
hour.
Even though like it from like a filmmaker standpoint, like
Yeah.
a lot of things bugged me about it because I couldn't put more time and effort into it. But
Dude, that was
for
rock
like
star.
for like an hour or two, like I'm okay with it.
We're gonna put that in the Leaders Create Leaders episode that we did with Andy here. Everyone listen, if we got a real thank you again, Andy.
Tell people about how they can follow you. And,
Sure, brother.
And watch your show and your social and everything like that.
So I launched a series. I wanted to differentiate myself. I always want to do that as a leader. So I started looking at everybody, and I was like, all right, everybody over here I see is vlogging and stuff like that. How can I be use content a little differently? So I came up with a series. It's 12 episodes. I did season 1, and now we're on season 2, and it's about interviewing all the modern day leaders of our generation. I travel the country, meet these leaders, and I deep dive into their world. So I tell their whole story from, coming from the bottom, what they went through to get to where they are today, but then also show it, right? Like, I think that we live in this world of like thought leaders. And then I looked at it from the outside. I was like, fuck thought leaders, man. Like, we need more show leaders. We need people to see real entrepreneurship, not just fucking read about it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
In theory. So that's what this show is about, is showing people the true entrepreneurship with true entrepreneurs. So Andy is in this season. It'll be coming out shortly. You can follow me on Instagram at Gerard Adams. And then the show goes on my YouTube channel, Gerard Adams TV.
That's awesome, man.
Nice.
Yeah, we did a really cool show today.
That's awesome.
If I don't say so myself.
Yeah. So 2 days ago, I had a conversation with somebody in a coffee shop, and I started telling them kind of about what I was doing with Andy and everything. And I was telling him about Andy's emphasis on hard work, execution, that sort of thing. And they got kind of a smirk on their face, and they're like, well, yeah, I mean, you got to give people hope. And I was like, well, what do you mean by that? And he said, I would almost guarantee that Andy Frisella is way, way smarter than everybody else. But in order to give people hope that they can do what he did, he just says stuff like, oh, work hard, be all in, have a lot of, work ethic, that kind of thing.
Wait,
so Gerard,
what?
No, listen. So Gerard, my question is this. Can you honestly say you're not smarter than everybody else? Because that's what this guy was saying.
I don't understand what the fuck he was saying.
What he was saying was that people like you guys who are successful are actually a whole lot smarter than anybody else.
No,
but
they just fucked up enough.
what you tell people is just work hard. There's no secret. Have a strong work ethic and be all in, and you too can be successful. In other words, if people knew how really smart both of you guys were. And that's really the secret.
Man,
to
I'll
your
tell you what,
success.
if I'm fucking on that level of smart, I sure as fuck don't know it.
Right. So speak to that, Gerard, because I mean, can you say with a clear conscience in front of God and everybody, you're not smarter than everybody else? That all these
100%. I mean, the moment you think that that's the case, you lose, man. It's we're all students of this game, entrepreneurship. It's a constant evolution, a constant learning, constant putting yourself. Today I learned a shit ton from Andy. It's just about that
And
sharing.
likewise.
And
Likewise.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
that, man. You got to continue to build out that circle of influence, building relationships, learn from others. I'm a mentor to millennials, but the reason where I got to where I am today is because I'm a mentee. I'm a student. I'm constantly looking for mentors in my life to help guide me, build long-lasting relationships, which is another thing that I think that everyone needs to realize. Is about building real relationships, not just through social. That's why I try to get out and really put out impromptu meetups together, or go and meet like with Andy and real entrepreneurs. And it's constant, learning. But I could say that. At this point, I do feel like I have a master's degree at least at entrepreneurship at this point, if there was ever a degree for it. But I'm constantly pushing myself to grow and learn. It's
just amazing how many people think there is some sort of secret, or that you have some edge
Dude,
that
that's
other
a fucking
people don't.
excuse, man.
Yeah.
That's an excuse. That's something that people tell themselves because they don't want to see the truth. The truth is this. You don't have to be the fucking smartest guy. You just have to be smart enough to not do the same things that are wrong over and over again. And then you've got to be willing to get the fuck up off the floor when you do those things wrong. And if you keep making mistakes, learning from those mistakes, and moving forward, eventually you figure the shit out.
Yep.
It's really that simple. But so many people either A, don't want to do the work, or B, aren't resilient enough or persistent enough to push through the shit that sucks, which is a lot of it, that they just don't get there. And you know what? Not everybody has to be there. You know what I mean? But to say that you've got some shit that nobody has, or I have some shit that nobody has, is inaccurate. Like, there's lots of dudes out there. I learn from everybody. And I think the difference between people who are perceived as intelligent in their, I mean, there is dudes who are legitimately fucking genius, like Elon Musk, right? Mm-hmm. But like guys like me, I'm not fucking like that. Like, you're not like that. No offense. We're regular dudes.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
like the thing is that I think what separates maybe us from this guy, right, is that we are willing to always learn. We are willing to always listen. And as much as I fucking talk, I listen a hell of a lot more. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's being a conscious, engaged student, like Gerard said, all the time. And figuring out, you know, what works, what doesn't work. How can I learn from his mistakes? How can I learn from her mistakes? How can I avoid those mistakes? And it is about being savvy to a point. You know what I mean? Like, there's some smoothness that you need to have. But that all comes along. You develop that. Yeah. I didn't have that shit when I started.
No.
But, dude, now I'm constantly looking at what everybody else does. And I'm like, I make notes. I'm like, I probably shouldn't fucking do that.
Yeah.
You know, or like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this guy fucking loses his whole company. I probably shouldn't have done what he did.
Yeah.
You know, I'm trying to avoid that. Like, it's got, like, to me, it's not, I don't know, man. Like, I know, like,
that's how you build your discipline.
Bro, I know, like, I'm on the other end of the spectrum, right? Like, I'm not at the end. I'm somewhere in the middle, though.
Yeah.
Right? And, like, to somebody who's listening from the beginning of the spectrum and they're just trying to get started, they're listening like, oh, bullshit, you've got all these skills. I have experience.
Yeah.
That's it. You know, and you have experience. And as we gain experience from actually doing real shit in the real world, we learn things. You learn new skills. You learn how to operate.
Yeah. It's like wisdom.
Dude, it's it. And it's just you know, it's no different than when you touch the hot stove when you're fucking 2 years old. You don't touch the motherfucker again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
and one thing I would say too is that, like, it's entrepreneurship, you know, from, you know, all around is about testing. It's about trying. It's like, you know, you got to constantly do that. You know, if you want to be an entrepreneur, you got to get burned. You got to do, you know what I mean? If you haven't I always say, if you're not making mistakes, you're not moving forward.
No.
You got to fucking make mistakes. You got to get out and try and experiment and do. And like, and again, and again, and again. And some things will work and you double down and you act quick and you double down and you keep pushing forward. Some things don't work. And you just say, fuck it. You move on. Try something new. Keep going.
Now, that's a good point to bring up too now. Like, dude, a lot of people, when the things don't work, instead of being able to say, fuck it and move on, they get hung up on those things.
Yeah, you got to know when to...
Dude, you got to have a short memory, man. And that's for good or bad things. Like, dude, don't toot your horn. Like, we just did a toot your horn fucking episode. Like, nobody's going to talk about you unless you talk about yourself. That's true. But don't toot your horn for too long because, dude, you know, you got to keep your eye on the fucking ball. And don't just like, don't brag about yourself or think you're the shit for too long when you do good stuff.
Yeah.
Same when you do bad stuff.
Yeah.
Let it go. You know, dude, I could not literally list the amount of mistakes that I've made and how much money I've lost.
Me too.
Like,
me too. Millions.
Dude, millions and millions of dollars.
Millions and millions of dollars for me as well.
Off of just being stupid.
Yeah.
Like doing dumb shit.
Dumb shit.
Yeah. And like, people don't see that though.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not on the internet being like, guys, be dumb as fuck and lose millions of dollars.
I mean, it's about the war, right?
Like, I haven't lost $20 million at once, but I bet I've lost that cumulative over a bunch of dumb fucking shit. You know? And like, dude, but that's the cost of the education. Like you said, you had the master's degree, you know, and that costs money.
Yeah.
It costs time. It costs experience. Just like, you're just not paying it back on a back end loan. You're paying it as you go.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm just curious, Andy, was most of your money lost out of ignorance or impatience?
Impatience, for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
I could see that.
Yeah. Like, it's a good mix of both. It's kind of like peanut butter and jelly. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? like, dude, that's probably, now that I would say patience probably because my hardest lessons were because I was impatient and I wanted shit now. And I saw opportunities. I thought I could make money quick.
That's the same with me.
Yeah. And then they never work. Ever.
Never.
I've never had one work.
Nope.
Never have I had one thing work where I thought, like, oh, dude, this is going to work. It's going to make it quick. And I start doing the fucking, you know, the entrepreneur math. You know what I'm talking about? Like, you get your calculator out. You're like, 12 dudes times 2,000 times 50,000 times this, you know? And then you're like, that's $50 million in 1 month. Yeah. You're like, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Anytime I've ever done that shit, I fucking lost. Yeah. Like, I've lost. Like,
I think it comes down to people.
I'm not going to pretend I've never done that.
Everybody does that shit. Yeah. Like, dude, I know you do it because we talk about it here. You're like, dude, all you need is 12 people to do this or that. I'm like, Vaughn, no.
Tell a friend, carry the one.
Yeah, let's stop. That you start talking like that, we fucking lose.
Yeah.
But dude, you know, it's just, I think to wrap this all up, we could talk about this for hours and hours and hours, but what do you say to the millennial, not just millennials, to any entrepreneur or wannabe entrepreneur? What is your number one, and I know number one is going to turn into number 2, 3, 4, 5 because you and I are kind of the same guy here. But what is your best piece of advice to someone who really thinks that entrepreneurship is the route they want to go in life? What would you say? Look, man, bro, I know you think this is the right thing for you, but let me give you a piece of advice.
Yeah.
How would you fill that in?
I would tell them, I would say first and foremost, prepare for absolute war. Know that it is going to be a long, 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 long journey. And it is going to be the most fulfilling journey in your entire life. But I would tell them, be ready to go into the storm. Be ready to just go all in on themselves. Really, really, go all in on themselves. And we talked about it. We talked about a couple different things. This was an amazing podcast, but don't focus on the money. Focus on looking deep down inside of yourself.
Now, before you stop, people will say, "You said don't focus on money. How am I supposed to survive?" Look, obviously you got to fucking survive.
Yeah.
All right. So take care of survival, but then after that, don't.
Look, as entrepreneurship is definitely business, right? So you have to be smart, and you definitely have to getting into the business. You do need to think about, your strategy, your business model, and all these things. But if I were to give you the one main piece of advice, is that what makes an entrepreneur great is not how good you are at accounting. It's not how good you are at writing the best business plan. It's not how good you are at, calling yourself a CEO. It's how good you are at being a fucking badass leader. It's how good you can find that leader within yourself. Know that you're willing to go through a fucking brick wall, no matter what stands in front of you. You're willing to fight through anything for what you believe in your life. And that you need to learn how to also care more about building a team. You're not going to be able to do it alone. So you need to be able to be a good leader to the people around you. Empower them to become the best leaders inside of your organization, inside of whatever it is that you're looking to build, because you can't do it alone. You need good people around you in all aspects, both personally and professionally. So you need to attract good quality people around you, understand what you're great at, go all in on that, be the best leader that you can possibly be, fight through it all, and surround yourself with other people that meet your values, and share that same fucking passion and drive, and that are gonna fucking ride or fucking die for what you believe in. And you need to and then it's just about, man, taking action, and that's it, battling. When you get knocked down, get the fuck back up.
I think that's great advice, man. I think the last sentence was the best advice. Dude, just be prepared to get the shit knocked out of you. And when it happens, know that there's nothing wrong with you. That's part of the deal, and get back up. It really doesn't get any more simple than that. And I feel like people want to create problems. They want to create and make it harder than what it should be in their mind. So that way, when they fail or when they quit, it's justified. The reality of success is that it, like your friend at the coffee shop, doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Because I know the path I've been on, and you know the path that you've been on, and nobody knows your path but you. You could tell it all day long, but nobody was there on the fucking nights where you wanted to fucking kill yourself, or the nights where you wanted to fucking give up, or all the bad news you've had, all the bad relationships you've had, all the tough decisions and
sacrifices.
Nobody knows that shit. So it's real easy from the outside to point at anybody and say they have something special, when in reality, probably the biggest thing they have is the ability to just keep fucking moving. It's not about their brains or their smarts or their parents or this or that or any other thing. Really, it's about their fucking grit. It's about their ability to fucking persevere. It's about their ability to move forward while getting punched in the fucking face 4 days out of the 7 for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And that's what entrepreneurship is. So like when I hear people say, oh, I want to be an entrepreneur, not everybody's cut to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Can people be successful and make some money? Sure. Can people run some ads on Facebook and sell some fucking products? Sure. But very, very, very few people have the grit to truly pursue that path long term.
Yeah.
So while not everybody listening may be a true entrepreneur, you could still take the entrepreneurial values and lessons and skills and ideals to benefit you in your career path, mainly being focus on the quality of your product. When I say product, I mean whether you're solving a problem, providing a service, making other people's job easier, your product is you. And if you focus on the quality of your product, you will not have to worry about the scoreboard. And it's going to take time. It's not going to happen. People don't notice you because you swept the floor extra good one fucking time. How about this? How about try it for a year? How about try, doing the extra shit for a year straight and see where it takes your life? Thinking like an entrepreneur doesn't mean you have to be an entrepreneur. But thinking like one is a pretty good fucking idea.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why we're teaching entrepreneurship to the local middle school in Newark to kids, because no matter what, those are skills that you need to carry
That's right.
throughout your whole entire life, no matter
right.
what.
How many people, you have an awesome team of people. Mm-hmm. Not every single person that works for you is an entrepreneur.
Right.
They're pieces of the puzzle that are extremely, extremely, extremely valuable.
Yeah.
And getting them to think on their own autonomously to act and find solutions and think like an entrepreneur on their feet makes them fucking valuable. So like, dude, if you're listening to this and you're not the guy, you're not the CEO, don't feel like this doesn't apply to you, because it does. Like, these same principles apply to every single fucking person listening. Every single person, no matter if your job is literally to cook the fucking French fries, cook the best motherfucking French fries that people have ever tasted in their fucking mouth. And you know what? One day you're going to get recognized for it and you're going to get an opportunity for it. Life is not that hard, man. People just make it hard.
Yeah.
They try to make it like Vaughn's buddy at the coffee shop. They try to make this ulterior path that is more complicated than what it really needs to be. It's the shit our dads taught us. Like, dude, work hard, do the best you can.
And document it authentically. Don't try to be someone you're not.
Yeah, from the inside out.
Yeah.
Be who you are in the heart and show that, as opposed to throwing all this shit on the outside and trying to paint, polish a turd. A fucking polished turd is still a fucking turd, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, dude, it doesn't matter what car you drive, what watch you wear, what this, that, this. No one fucking cares. What people are attracted to is authenticity, the reality, the journey, the struggle, the true stories.
Yeah.
Not the fucking glory, man. Everybody's telling the glory story.
Yeah.
Tell the fucking hard story.
Yeah. And trust me, we need more of that. We need more leaders
Let's
out there.
talk about that. I was going to wrap this up, but I want to talk about that because, dude, you are very, very smart and intelligent about personal branding.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that for a second, because we just talked about this on my podcast.
Fuck, it's unbelievable how powerful. Since I started about 18 months ago, because I really genuinely thought, we really need better role models, mentors out there that are real entrepreneurs. But holy shit, the power of what I call social currency. I had trademarked this term because I'm like, this is a real tool, what I call social currency. I've been able to, it has opened up unbelievable things. Leaders create leaders, for instance, right? Got me to meet you, Andy.
Right.
I build relationships with some of the greatest real entrepreneurs because of my social currency now.
Right.
And things have opened up. Like, I couldn't even tell you. It's helped me build even my business. Like, I think that when you build, a lot of people are building social currency for the wrong reasons, for the fame, to be cool, to be liked, whatever the fuck the case is. For me, it's for making impact, making real relationships, being human, and like for something bigger than me, which is founders. And it's allowed me to get aspiring entrepreneurs from 13 countries. This last cohort, we had over 400 people trying to get into this last cohort. It's helped my business thrive, and I think it's extremely powerful. I mean, I've been able to go across I have been able to, travel with the social currency, speak in different places because of it, and meet great, amazing people. And I have been able to leverage that to impact more people. So, I think it's important. I just think you got to leverage it for the right reasons, not for, you can't do, again, you need to not just use it for something selfish. See how you can build that social currency to build a real community, or real business or brand, something that's bigger than you, and leverage it so that it's another tool to communicate and impact. And that's what I've been working on. And I've been basically using the same strategy that I've used for all of my brands that I've built, with content. And I just started implementing that strategy on my own personal brand. And it's been one of the most powerful things I've done for building relationships and now building, founders and allowing it to be, impactful.
Yeah. I mean, it's a real thing, man. A lot of people turn their nose up at social media and they think, especially like guys who have been successful before social media, dude, you've heard this before too, I'm sure. Like dudes who have been ultra successful and then they don't take their social seriously. Yeah. They're like, oh, I don't fucking need that. Well, you know what? You may not have needed it 10 years ago when you were fucking doing your work that has made you the money you make now. But don't fucking confuse that if you don't do it for the next 10 years, you won't be making the money that you're making now.
No fucking shot.
No.
People are now you as an individual, you are the media platform. Trust me, take it from someone who's built a real, publication. People don't want to read the news. Like the news is filled with fucking shit. People don't even want to watch the news anymore. People want to get, they want to get the information from people. They're building, it's amazing. The influence peer to peer. I mean, think about your community right now listening to this. You know what I'm saying? How powerful has it been for you, Andy, with MFCEO?
It's exponentially powerful, period. I mean, it's opened up doors for me that I wouldn't have even thought were like even open.
It's crazy. It's even hard to put in. It's unbelievable.
It's totally life-changing shit.
And for your business too, not even just for your relationships.
We're fucking in LA. I walk out of the hotel and you've got fucking 10 dudes standing there and they're all like, motherfucking CEO. And I'm like, who the fuck are these kids? Like, it's weird, dude. Yeah. Like it's like, people say, oh, these Insta famous. No, motherfucker, it ain't Insta famous no more. It's fucking famous. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's people. You've got to start taking your brand serious. Yeah. It's not. This is a tool. It's a way to truly have leverage. Yes, man. It's a way to communicate. On an exponential level that never existed before. And this is just the beginning. Yeah. Like, say you only have 500 friends on Instagram right now. That's okay.
We all started at 0.
Yeah, dude. And we're in the beginning stages. Like, don't think because you only have a couple thousand or 1,000 or less than 1,000 followers that you're somehow left behind, dude. No, this is the fucking first 2 or 3 years of TV.
We're still in the first round
of radio.
Yep.
Imagine if The Rock didn't have social media. Would he have the career that he has now?
Right. No, there's no fucking way.
No fucking way.
Yeah.
If The Rock didn't have social media, I just don't think social media would exist.
No. Yeah, exactly. So, dude, if The Rock didn't have social media, he'd still be doing the movies like Walking Tall. You know what I'm saying? Like the one he wants to forget.
Right.
But you can't help but watch it when it comes
on. I love
on.
Walking Tall. I love it, dude. I mean, I'm just saying it wasn't the best movie. Yeah. Like it was just okay. Rock,
while we're on that topic, we do have people who listen to the podcast that inexplicably are unaware that you actually do short videos on your IG. So why don't you once again share your connection?
Guys, I do. If you guys aren't following me on Instagram, I do like little mini podcasts there almost every day. So it's at Andy Frisella on Instagram. That's where I do most of my content. And if you're liking the podcast, if you don't have an Instagram, fucking create one and follow me, and I guarantee you get content out of it. So, so yeah, man. What else do you have going on, man? Like, what else you want to talk about?
Fuck, man, I'm focused, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I'm focused, man. This is it for me. So it's just like building out my community.
I think it's
bringing in
interesting
value.
how focused and all in you are on one project when there's
Yeah.
all these dudes who have never built fucking anything.
Yeah.
You know, like, dude, doesn't it like it's
Yeah,
almost
it does kind of. It really does fucking irk me. Like,
it does because it's almost arrogant. It's
Yeah.
like, bro, who do you think you are that you
So
could do
part-
5 things?
Yeah.
That, you know, when it takes all of me and I built
Yeah,
shit to
yeah.
do one thing.
So it's like part of me gets pulled in a direction where it's like, fucking like, I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Like again, I'm concerned about the influence in which our generation, this next generation is coming up, and who they're being influenced by. And then on the other side, it's like, okay, like I always said, pressure is a privilege. So it's like that puts more pressure on guys like us. And all the men and women out there that have actually really truly built something. It's like you have a responsibility at this point to step up. To start building that social currency, start getting out there and spreading your story, talking about it, spreading those lessons. We need better leaders out there. We need better role models out there. So and shit, hit me. I'll help you. I mean, I will help you. If you're a real entrepreneur out there and you're like fucking, oh man, I don't know, and you're questioning. Listen, I'll help you. Hit me up. But it fucking irks me that there's so many people out there that are leveraging social media for the for selfish reasons, for the wrong reasons. But at the same time, it's like it's opportunity and it's a privilege that we have the opportunity to go out there and actually represent what real entrepreneurship, what real, if you want to call it success, what that really means. Everything from the way you live your life. I mean, shit, I get asked a lot about my relationship, being still, a young hustler out there and having an amazing girlfriend who, supports me. And what's that like to have a real relationship? Andy, we were so inspired by you and Emily and your wife and how you hold each other down. Last night, it was just like, to us, we love that, dude. Like, that needs to be shown more, man. Like, success is, it's business, but man, it's like, you need to have that support system. You need to have that person that's in your life that's going to help you, support you, love you, fucking like want to build an empire with you, family, all that shit. That matters. We need to see more of that shit. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I'm excited for the opportunity to help be a better role model, man, and I'm blessed to have relationships like you, bro.
Well, dude, likewise, man. Loved having you on the show for sure. Loves the energy, man. It's got good energy.
Yeah, I got to ask one content question.
What's that?
So Gerard, you're putting out content that's very, very high production value. So I'm curious, is that something that people absolutely have to work toward in your opinion, or tell me your approach to content?
Absolutely not. I mean, I take obviously I take a lot of pride, but look, this has taken me. I think I did my first documentary. I've been writing since I started my career, but I did my first videos and documentaries back in like 2008. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like close to 10 years. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So it's taken me a long time, and like getting to the ability of having a good team that can put out that kind of production value. But no, you don't need that. For now, man. I mean, with the iPhone today, you can literally this thing. Like if I had this thing when I started, like when I was fucking 18 years old, if I had this smartphone, fuck, are you kidding me? Mm-hmm. Like, man, I'm excited to see what this Gen Z is gonna fucking create. I mean, they have the fucking everything in their fingertips. Like, it's a powerful thing. You don't need to have, the best fucking camera anymore. All this crazy equipment.
You just authentic content.
Yeah, it's got to be fucking real.
Which is real easy to do. It's just taking the courage to be yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. Well, guys, make sure you're following Gerard. Hit up with the Instagrams. Gerard Adams. Okay, at Gerard Adams.
GerardAdams.
He's putting out quality content. Dude travels the world. He's always doing cool shit. Like I always tell you guys, if you want cool social media, go be fucking cool in real life. And this motherfucker's as cool as it gets. So thanks for being on the show, brother.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Really appreciate you coming on.
All of you.
Thanks, Gerard.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll catch up with you guys next time.